I'll be sharing with you guys one of my absolute favorite quad builders known as the hack squat. So right now you guys are looking at a horizontal hack squat machine, but nonetheless it's still a hack squat altogether. And I'll be breaking down some of the cues, technique, benefits, and modifications you can make to get the most out of this exercise. So oftentimes you hear people talk about the front squat and how it's the whole other quad training, but there's a lot of things that people don't consider about the front squat. One being that the rhomboids can give out. Another thing being that you need more degrees of humeral flexion to even get into the position before you even start the exercise. Whereas the hack squat doesn't require you to do this. Also, the hack squat on the other hand has a new reference, which is this pad. So oftentimes you see people do the front squat, and once they're getting over a heavy repetition, they use their erectors to kind of get out of the position. You don't have to worry about that when you're doing a hack squat, because you can simply get your lower back on the pad, which keeps your pelvis more tucked, which keeps you in a more stacked position, which focuses more on the quads and less on the lower back. And the upper back is pretty much taken out of the equation as well. So just cock it up here. Not to mention that I don't need 90 degrees of humeral flexion. I don't need to get in this high position. I can simply just grab it right here in the lower position. If you have very little amounts of flexion, you can simply grab onto these handles as well. That's another option. Here. Me personally, I just grab it here. This is training more supination. It's giving me access to what I don't already have. I could already use a bit more supination, so I'm gonna hold it like so. And then just drive up with the quads. If you want a bit more of a glute focused squat, so put your feet up. We're trying to target the quads here, so we want to get the feet very low. We want to maximize knee flexion, we want to keep the heels on the pad. So I'm going to go here, drive knees forward. I don't want to relax, so I'm going to keep a bit of tension in. I'm going to drive back up. If you want even more knee flexion, I've seen people put pads on ramps on the hack squat. I've seen people use Olympic weightlifting shoes on the hack squat to drive a bit more knee flexion. But there's definitely great ways to get more quads out of the hack squat. I want to give a big shout out to Hypertrophy Coach. I got this idea from him, I did not make this up. But if, for example, you're a taller individual, I'm 5'11" for reference, and you could go pretty deep on a hack squat. Whereas if you're shorter, you're on the shorter side, you may need to get more range of motion if you want to get more knee flexion, if you want to maximize that part of it. So I got this from Hypertrophy Coach. You want to get deeper in a hack squat, you basically take these yoga blocks, put it right here, right? Take another yoga block, put it right here. If you're really short, you can even take 2 yoga blocks. And now you're gonna see, I'm gonna post a comparison on the screen of when I just did the squat, the hack squat compared to now. So now when I cock it up, now my hamstring can really touch my calf. I could really get in a lower position, bring my feet down, could really maximize the knee flexion even more. So when I do the lift, from here, so those are just some of the reasons why I like the hack squat so much. It takes the upper back out of the equation. You don't have to have as much high demands of humeral flexion to get into position. You focus more on the quads, the upper back isn't gonna die out. There's just a host of different benefits. This is why when you look at the bodybuilding world, you see so many different bodybuilders using hack squats so much in their training. It's for reasons that I'm describing in today's video. So as far as the program is concerned, you could even make these a main lift, or you can make them a secondary lift. If you're a really beat up lifter, you can even do a lot of pre-exhaustion stuff, and you could just throw them in at the end of your session. But overall, the hack squat is a must-have exercise, in my opinion, for building the biggest quads possible. So I hope you got some value out of today's episode. Give the hack squat a try in your training. If you're on the shorter side, incorporate this little hack for your hack squat by Hypertrophy Coach. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next episode.